I'll cut and then restart it. We restarted. All right. I'll rethrow the same fucking intro. Insert the bats. All right. It's the same
yeah,
intro.
yeah.
All right, so too late, Nolan. You already did
No,
it.
okay. Do another intro. Do another intro, Nolan. Do another intro. Come on.
Welcome to the Nerds Cantos and our second episode of our Cantober. Woo!
Insert the bats. All right. The bats are all over the screen. They're everywhere. They're chasing Scooby. I'm not editing that, but they're imagine they're chasing Scooby. All right. Use your mind's eye. Now we're going to talk about King and Yell. We're going to go back in time a little bit. If you don't know what the Cantober is, go watch the other video. I don't want to explain it again. And frankly, none of you want to hear me talk about it again. So we're going to go back in time a little bit from Lovecraft to the inspiration, the guy who started it all, Robert W. Chambers, King and Yellow. This book fucking sucks, guys. You know what I'm saying? This book stinks. All right.
I've got a love-hate relationship with like maybe 50 pages of it.
I got a
It starts-
hate relationship with this book.
It starts very strong. The first story is pretty good. I really did.
I
I loved it.
And then the second story is a little not the best. It's still entertaining and leagues better than what we get later.
Yeah.
And in the Core of the Dragon, I could go either way. I mean, I didn't really care for it. I really like the Yellow Sign, and we could talk about the others in a minute.
Yeah.
Here, so I think we should talk about the good ones first.
We should, of course, talk about the good ones first. Did you guys? This is what I'll ask you guys. This. I know, Nolan. I know you listened to it, but did you guys translate the French at all?
I looked up
No.
the translations, but I did not write them down. I'm sure you did.
I wrote the first one down. I stopped translating the French. I have to, for the Cantos viewers, I can loosely read French, and so I was like, let me get this first one down because I think this is interesting. And then every other time it would show up, I was just like, I don't want to. I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. But the book opens with this quote, which is why I thought it was important to write down and mention. It says, "Let us not mock the madmen. Their madness lasts longer than ours. That's the difference." So you can take that as you will. I thought it was an interesting quote to open your book with. Stewie, you just loosely explain this, but this is an anthology book about kind of connected to this figure known as the King in Yellow. This otherworldly, Lovecraftian, if you will, crazy guy who kills you. But he doesn't like exist. He's like, because he can't exist in our plane or whatever the fuck. So it's like, there's a book called The King in Yellow in the universe, or a play. I think it changes, and if you read it, you die. Which is, I think, this is a fun premise. That's an interesting thing. But this book is The King in Yellow in our world is it's considered the start of what would later become Lovecraftian horror, which is why we read this. Oh, Wendigoon also has like a fucking 7 million viewed video on YouTube, because of course he does. But that's where I heard about this for the first time. I saw that. I didn't watch the video, but I saw the video. And then everyone, I remember a couple people I knew were like, "This fucking book is awesome sounding," and that's why I brought it. That's why I was like, we should check this one out.
Wendigoon just made it sound a lot cooler.
I'm sure he did. I watched after reading the book, watched like an hour of the video, and yeah, I mean, he makes it sound a lot cooler than it actually is, because that's his job. That's not our job though. We're here to shit on it. But first, we'll talk about, like Stewie said, we'll talk about the things we like. So the first story, The Repair of Reputations, which I think we all enjoy.
Very good.
Yeah, I did very much enjoy it. Essentially, I'll do a summary. Essentially, the book follows a guy who had a bit of a fall on horseback and was institutionalized, and he's talking to another. I think the Repair Reputations. Was he institutionalized as well? He was, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was also like the local crazy man, and so that's how they kind of like met and became friends, I believe.
That's right. But anyways, these two they're working together, and that's revealed over the course of the little story. And essentially, it's still like kind of a Lovecraft's format where it's like you're following this guy's POV, but it's not a journal. It's actually from his POV going through I think it's a week or like half a week of how the scenario situation, I should say, unfolds. And yeah, I don't want to spoil too much because I don't.
Nah, I'll spoil fucking
You're gonna spoil
everything. All right. He works
Spoil.
with the Repair of Reputations. You know, this crazy guy that Stewie was mentioning, who, if I now correct me if I'm wrong, but he like does things for people and then like makes them read the King in Yellow book, or he converts them to the King's Legion is what they talk about.
Yeah, he basically blackmails them. He's like, he's kind of like an information broker. He first like finds the person, blackmails them, and has them read the book. And then after that point, they're kind of like so fucked up from reading it. Yeah, they're in.
Yeah, because the
like,
book drives you insane. You know.
Yeah, they'll do anything basically.
Yeah. Also, the story is set in the future because this book was written in 1895, and the story is set in 1920, and so there's a lot of they talk about the war. They have like killing boxes.
Yeah, they have like the world's first they decriminalize suicide, and they just have a suicide building that you just walk into and kill yourself,
like Futurama.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which I thought all of that's why the story is interesting. This story is well written. All right. By the way, they all die. That's what happens. It's just fucking cut to the shit. Okay, they all read the book and they fucking die, or they go and say the main character thinks he's supposed to be. He thinks he's the heir to the King in Yellow, but his cousin is like older than him, so he's like, I have to get my cousin out of the way, or I can't be king or prince or whatever.
Yeah. So Wild. That's the Repair of Reputation's name. He's kind of convinced Hildred, which is the main character's name, that he is the rightful king, because Hildred read The King in Yellow before being Wild. He read it in the institution, I think, or shortly after.
Yeah.
And basically Wild just reinforces his beliefs. And Hildred is
crazy.
I would yeah, essentially. He's everyone around him, like his friends and his family, because he does have a few of them still. His aforementioned cousin is basically his only family that talks to him. No one else is really mentioned. And he has an armor who he sees because the armor lives below Wild. And the armor's daughter is being married to Lewis, his cousin.
Yeah. A lot of stuff going on.
So Hildred wants his cousin out the picture. And like the entire book, he's basically seething about it. He really doesn't like him. Like, every other sentence you read when he's talking to a person, it's like his inner monologue is like how he has to suppress sneering at, or like
his
going off.
His cousin's a great guy, by the way. I just want to make
that.
Yeah,
his cousin's completely normal.
So well,
his cousin's just like a guy in the military who's coming back home.
He even asked him to be his best man.
Stationed. He does. Yeah, he does ask him to be.
He's like, "I love you. Can you be my?" Now his cousin does call him crazy, which which is what interesting is about this story is. Obviously the main, Hildred, the main guy, he is crazy, but what I liked is maybe there's a little bit of subtext where it's like, because we know he's crazy because he read The King in Yellow, right? So that's like an not his fault kind of crazy, but I like the way his cousin talks about it. Kind of makes me think he might have been a little crazy beforehand, like he might have had some things wrong with him, because he, like you were saying, Stewie, he does not like his cousin, but he also, the one thing he hates more than his cousin is the institution. All right, he has a severe problem.
He really despises it
with the fact that he was institutionalized because he does not view himself as being crazy. Which I don't know. It's just something I thought was interesting. Like, this first story is really good, is what we're saying. All right, it's interesting. Yeah. It's fun. He dies, by the way. That's it. They all die, but sorry.
Yeah, it comes up at the throughout the story whenever someone mentions he got it released from the institution, where they go like, "Oh, so when you were cured," and he despises
loses it every time.
loses it internally and a little bit externally. Like he'll correct them partially and be like, "No, I was released. I wasn't cured because there was nothing wrong."
Yeah. I think there was a lot wrong with the man. I think there was quite a number of things wrong with him. But this first story is pretty fucking interesting. You know, it's neat. I enjoyed it a lot. And then we immediately go into, I think The Mask is next, which is the one about the alchemist.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this one. This one's very different. And it has a lot more of the romance that we'll later get to, because this one's about a love triangle between two friends and then a woman who is also their friend, Guinevere, I think, believe, or Genevieve. Sorry, Genevieve on the wiki. Her name is Genevieve. And I don't know. I thought it was interesting. There's a lot of romance nonsense happening, and Genevieve like breaks the main character's heart when she's like, I like Boris more than you. I always have. And the main character's just like, damn. I'm gonna go seclude myself in my room and never leave again.
I didn't really.
It's not exactly what happens, but it's, you know,
yeah. There's I'm trying to find a way to describe what happens. She kind of, because they all eventually accidentally find the King Yell read it.
Yeah,
that's what happens.
I
think Boris is the first one to go. I think.
Yeah, because Boris dies.
Yeah, Boris dies, and
Genevieve doesn't
up with like their dynamic.
Well, Boris gives his house and all his shit to the Alec, the main character. He's like, "All right, man, you get everything." And then Genevieve like turns to stone or whatever, or like marble or something.
Yeah, she gets like statuified
because he kisses her and she comes back, and it's kind of like not right. Like the whole point, like it's supposed to be like something wrong is happening, but our main character is having such like a bliss, this heavenly bliss, that he doesn't notice that things aren't right, you know. That's this one's a lot shorter. They all progressively get shorter and shorter, so it's like, I don't know, it's harder to talk about them because they're all super short. Hard to talk about.
Also, wait a minute. In this Alchemist one, didn't they like make an element in the bathtub or some weird shit?
Yes. Yes, they did.
What the fuck was up with that?
Because they were trying to help Genevieve at the time, right?
I think so.
I don't.
I'm reading the wiki. It says they made a transformative solution. Genevieve drowned in a pool after ODing and falling in, or maybe she falls into a pool and fucking dies, and then she becomes a marble statue. And Boris shot himself. And then that's roughly when our character just loses it and kind of goes insane for a little bit, with like the formula, because he's an alchemist, so they are trying to do something with alchemy, and it just like never goes right, I think, and he just goes insane. Until he kisses Genevieve's marble statue, she comes back to life, and things are like wrong, but our character doesn't notice it because he's got his wonderful Genevieve back. I don't know. This shit's weird. This is when it starts to get a little weird. I like this story, but this is like immediately. It starts
the change of pace was a little shocking.
Change of pace, the change of vibe is a little weird. I don't know. It's very weird. The next one, In the Court of the Dragon, I actually like this one.
This one was solid.
This one I think is
interesting.
I
better than The Mask.
Yes. Yeah, well, because we get back to the King in Yellow. The Court of the Dragon follows, I don't remember this guy's name, but it follows a guy in church. He's like, he's actively in like a ceremony, or not in the ceremony, but he's watching a ceremony. And he's just fully losing his mind, because like the night before or 2 nights before or whatever, he read The King in Yellow. And it's just like, he's lost it. Because he knows he's going to die soon. He knows he shouldn't have read The King in Yellow. He's seeing some fucking crazy nonsense. And so it kind of follows him as he like runs out of the I think he leaves the church because there's a guy in church that he's convinced is gonna fucking kill him and eat his soul or whatever. And I frankly don't remember how this one ends. Actually,
I think.
I imagine he dies because they all die.
Doesn't he? I remember either he falls into some blackness or the guy came in to like kill him.
Stewie, what do you
I
got?
don't necessarily remember.
I was waiting for Nolan Fish. I'm pretty sure he doesn't leave the church until the very end, because if I remember correctly, he was still in the church, and then everyone like moves like abrupt. I'm understand. And so I wrote this down, literally. But yeah, he thinks he's escaped, and then eventually, when he's about to leave, he looks at the moon, and he hallucinates towers of Carcosa, and Carcosa's the city that's mentioned throughout the King Yellow stories. It's
like
basically
his castle.
Yeah, it's like his domain. He hallucinates the city Carcosa, and then the King Yellow speaks to him, which I can only assume is another hallucination because we don't really get personalization for the King Yellow himself. Is kind of just in the background as a being. And he tells him it is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of a living god.
That's pretty scary. I mean,
and that's just what it ends on.
Yeah,
that's
it's just I'm sure he takes his soul, and that's how it got. I mean,
yeah, that makes sense.
No, okay, I'm vaguely starting to remember that. I remember the chase mostly, which I think is all hallucination or something. I don't know, because this whole thing where he's afraid his soul's gonna get fucking eaten. I like the way this one was written. I liked the narrator, who I don't remember a name. I don't know if he even gets a name. But I like that he starts. The way Chambers writes it is interesting. Is what I'm trying to say with the prose and how crazy he is.
It's more interesting than Lovecraft.
Yes. The King of Yellow himself is cool. I like the idea of reading this book and then going insane, dying, or potentially getting your soul taken to this crazy Carcosa dimension thing. I'm like, that's a fun idea.
Oh yeah, we should mention, because we've got to mention, I think every one of these stories opens up with a little like excerpt from the book. Like the first one opens up with a song. I think it was called Casilda Song. That's what I have written down in my notes. And the next one opens up with a woman named Camilla and Casilda and a stranger talking to each other. And this one, in the Court of the Dragon, opens up with a quote, which I don't think is from anywhere. We could look it up later if we really want to. It's not attributed to the King Yellow. I have that written down. It's just a quote.
This is a line. This opening poem is a line from the introduction of the second edition of. I'm gonna send this name to our little podcast chat. I don't. The.
You're American. Sorry.
No, hold on. We're gonna give
Good
it
luck.
The Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. I don't know. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but you always got to try. I'm a firm believer in always trying. All right.
That's how it looks phonetically.
Yes.
So if we're wrong, sorry. We're American.
It's a book from 1859. So a couple decades before The King in Yellow was written. The poem I will also put on screen. I don't know that we need to read them because, like Sui mentioned, they're before all of them, so there's a lot.
They're like little neat tidbits.
Yeah.
I like the Repair of Reputations and the one from the.
But that's in the Court of the Dragon. It's, I think, the second best one. It's the one I enjoyed the most outside of the Repair of Reputations. Are you guys a yellow sign enjoyer?
I mean, I think they're both equal for me. Like the difference in the Repair of Reputations, like quality and like actual like it hooks you. Like,
Yeah.
that guy is
Yeah.
so outwardly insane. It is just so good. But all these other people are like, yeah, they go crazy, but they go crazy in more of a, oh my god, I'm dying crazy, rather than I'm gonna go fucking kill everybody crazy.
Yeah.
If that made any sense, but
No, I mean they're very. All the other people are going crazy like they do in Lovecraft stories, where they just die, and then Repair's
yeah,
reputations is trying to murder his cousin and then like take over the world by being the king in yellow. So, but the yellow sign is the next little short story. I enjoyed this one.
I also enjoyed this one. I prefer this one over the previous.
Okay.
I like the essentially it's a painter and his muse, and they fall in love shortly because I think it's apparent that the muse has feelings for the painter immediately,
yeah,
and
Yeah.
she confesses to him, and they have a few romantic scenes together. But during this, she tells him of a dream that she's been having, like a reoccurring dream of like a strange man sitting out on the street next to a carriage. And when she tells him this, he also starts seeing said man in this carriage. And over time, it kind of obviously, like, creeps into their life and disrupts their relationship.
It's not great, It's not. It's bad things happen in these stories.
yes,
It's a lot of romance, basically. The story, a lot of
Yeah,
it is just built
it's
up with the
mostly
yeah.
the romance. This
I
doesn't.
thought it was written well. I kind of liked it.
I like it more than the other romantic stories that we'll get to.
Oh, sure.
Oh
Well,
my
because this
god,
one still
yeah,
has stuff in it. It's named the yellow sign is, it's I should have mentioned in the Court of the Dragon is like the road or the townhouse he lives in. I think or some. That's the point. This is where the name comes from, and then the yellow sign is about. Is named after the literal yellow sign of the King in Yellow.
Yeah.
Which I think if you see the sign, you fucking go insane. Which is probably a bad idea that it's on screen, and I'm also staring at it right now. But that's okay. But yeah, I mean, I think this one's fine. I think Chambers is not bad at romance. I mean, it's 1890s romance, so it's like
sure.
weird. But it's like it's fine. It's a little change of pace, but yeah, I enjoy all the King in Yellow stuff. So these first 4 stories I think are like solid. I don't know if I would say worth a read, but I wouldn't tell you not to. If you were like, oh, I'm gonna read the first 4, I'd be like, okay, sure.
I'd say Repair of Reputations definitely.
That one you should read. That one's good.
Yes.
If you could stop there if you really want.
Yeah.
They're tangentially connected. I think Hildred is mentioned in Dragon, but it's like his last name, and it's like removed slightly.
Yeah, I remember
it's
that.
A passing mention.
That's why I like in the Court of Dragon. The only other one where I'm like, if you're gonna read 2 of them, I would read Repair and Court of the Dragon, but only because they're slightly connected like that, and then you get there's a ton of King in Yellow, so like the King in Yellow fucking speaks at the end of Court of the Dragon, or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it's hallucination, but he maybe speaks. Whereas in the other ones, like the next one, the Demoiselle Dis, which is a just purely a romance. Immediately, there's no more King in Yellow. The King in Yellow is fucking gone. All right, this is the time travel one, guys. If you remember.
Yeah, a bunch of dog shit.
I do remember.
I don't even lie. I'm like, this one I was actually a little like, the whole time I was like, okay, wait, time travel. This is interesting. Whenever the King in Yellow shows up, it's about to go crazy. And then the King in Yellow never shows up, and at that moment I was like, oh, I see.
I believe we can tell the viewers now. We did not know this going in.
No, we did
But only
not.
the first half is King Yellow stories.
Yeah.
The latter half is just romance story. And we didn't know
So weird. So weird.
I did look it up. There are editions of this book that are purely just King. We did
Not
not
the
read
one we got, boys. No. I mean,
it. We
obviously,
read the full book.
I would, when I pay for a book, I paid $1 for it. But I would like to have the full book. So I'm not against these existing, but I don't know why they're in this book. It just doesn't make any sense to me. They don't have anything to do with the King in Yellow. This one has a lot of French in it, by the way. This is one I gave up because I think
Yeah, this is
the
when the French
girl's
becomes.
French.
Yeah, she sings a song to it.
That's
That's
what
it, just
is.
purely in French.
But basically, it's about this guy named Philip who is lost, and he's like, "I'm gonna die." Basically, he's basically like, I'm just gonna have to live out in the woods now. Not the woods, but wherever he is. And then all of a sudden, this like falcon, or I think it's falcon. This falcon shows up, and then it's just like, boom. There's this hot lady, and he's immediately in love, and then he goes and like sleeps in her castle house. I thought it was a castle. Maybe I'm
It's
wrong.
like a village.
Village thing. Um, and then they just kind of fall in love.
He's an American too.
Yeah, he's American. They're French, hence the name and all of the French in it. This is, I guess, slightly important. One of the like guys that's just in this village thing is named Hastur, which is a name of a Lovecraftian entity that exists in Lovecraft lore. So like if for some reason you want to, he's like one of the great old ones that Lovecraft came up with. So if you want to connect the stories, if you want to connect King in Yellow and Lovecraft, fucking Hastur's here, I guess. Hastur's also a True Detective for any True Detective fans out there. Good show.
Doesn't the True Detective just have reference to the King?
Yeah, it's all a ton of King in Yellow stuff. But Hastur, I think, is it's been a while. I don't remember. Good show. Cool little King in Yellow connection to the modern day. I don't know. But at the end of the day, our little guy Philip eventually wakes up back in where he belongs, and he finds a little gravestone for the woman he loved, who existed like 300 years before he did. I don't know. You guys got anything? I'm like, that's it. That's the story.
I mean, it is just a romance. There's not a whole lot we could say.
I
mean, it's well written.
By the way.
The prose is good.
Yeah.
Chambers
can write.
Better, way better than Lovecraft.
Oh, 100%, 100%. Even the romance is like, even the romance stuff I think is much better written than whatever the fuck Lovecraft was doing. This is the start of the romance stuff. Although I do think the next one is about the play, like the King in Yellow play, but I think it's a bunch of poems, if I remember. The Prophet's Paradise.
I don't even remember, dude.
I wrote down is because I wrote notes vaguely where I just be like, oh, this sucks. I try to do really extensive notes, but for this one I was just losing my mind.
Yeah, I don't think it is related to King. I think it's just like,
maybe it's not.
I mean, it could be, but I don't have anything written here, and I'm looking at it because I pulled them up just to make sure my information was correct. It just seems to be like an unrelated.
Okay, so it's just like a series of poems that I frankly couldn't.
Scenes, because there really are. It's like a play.
Yeah, so maybe that's it. Maybe it's somehow connected, and we aren't literate. I don't know.
Probably that.
After this, though, we get the Street of the Four Winds, the Street of the First Shell, the Street of Our Lady of the Fields, and Rue, which are a bunch of romance stories. They're a bunch of romance stories. They're all about an American. I believe they're all about. They're all in French. They're in Paris. They're not in the language of French, but they're all in like Paris, if you will. And I think most of them are about like Americans falling in love in Paris because they'll do that.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm gonna be honest, they were blending together. As soon as I got to the Street of the Four Winds, I was like, okay, the last one had nothing to do with the King in Yellow, but maybe this next one will. And then it had nothing to do with King in the Yellow, and then I was gone. Every bit of me was out, and I had no more thoughts or feelings. I don't know, you guys got anything?
Yeah. I mean, True to Four Winds is just a guy. He's feeding a stray cat who he can't find the owner of, so he's just continually feeding it, and he thinks, if I'm remembering correctly, because I did not take that much notes on this, because like you said, it blended together, and I was not very interested. And he thinks the cat's owner is a mistress, and then he finds her through the cat, I believe.
I mean, yeah, man. This shit is. I don't know what this is. I'm gonna be because we've talked about this because we read this like 2 weeks ago at this point, and so we've little behind the scenes for you Cantos viewers, you 5 viewers, love you guys.
They remind me we are bad at this.
Always. We try to. I know this one's terrible, but we try to not discuss the Cantos things because sometimes me and Stu will finish a thing first, or like in this case Nolan and I had finished The King in Yellow before Stewie had read it, and so
could not get through it.
which is fine. But so we try to not discuss it, but occasionally we break it and we just start shit talking The King in Yellow because it was just like, what happened? It was so cool, like. I don't know, man. I don't know what happened. Like, I wish I had. I tried to look up like information, which means we were just talking about. But I guess Chambers, after writing The King in Yellow, went on to do just a ton more. I mean, he's a pretty famous author, I think, but he just went on to do a bunch of romance stuff, mostly.
Makes sense,
right? Because clearly he wanted to do that. I did find also. I don't have. I do not have my sources. Right? My teacher would fail. Any teacher would fail me. But I did find a couple articles talking about how, according to some things that Lovecraft left, like journals and stuff when he died, his style of writing was directly taken from at least the first couple stories of The King in Yellow.
And he does it worse.
He does it worse, but you can see that. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, you probably did take that style of writing from Robert Chambers. There are a couple Lovecraft stories. Like I said, Lovecraft I think has interesting ideas, but we'll talk about that next week for you guys. Yeah, I don't know. This book is weird. I think it's worth a read if you're only going to read the first 4 stories. Not that the backstories aren't worth a read, but they are not what the book advertises itself to be. Because they are romance short novels.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's all I've got to say on The King in Yellow.
Yeah, I think that's all that really needs to be said, because I don't think they are our audience who comes into this video expecting horror content that's want us to run down 4 romance stories.
Yeah.
If you really are interested, you can find The King Yellow online. Like Sarah said, you can buy it, but there are places that just
it's
I was about to say it's free. It's free. That the copyright has ended.
I just like
read it on an archive.
I just like owning the things we talk about when we do a can't. I like having them.
It's fair.
My mid stamp of approval that I've just made up. Enjoy yourself, Cantos watchers, and we'll see you next week for another episode, another Cantober spectacular.
Yep. Or you're looking for the Lovecraft some more.